It was Christmas Eve. The house glowed with warm lights, the air heavy with cinnamon and roast beef. Children laughed, glasses clinked. Everyone seemed wrapped in holiday magic, except for me. I was there, but I wasn't. I was a shadow, a prop in my wife's family photo. And this year, I didn't even show up because someone else did, my twin brother. And no one, not one person, noticed. Not her dad, not her mom, not her siblings, not even her loud, opinionated aunt who never misses a chance to ask invasive questions. Not one guest looked twice. They didn't see him because they've never truly seen me. You know, I used to think I was exaggerating, overreacting. My wife assured me, time and again, that her family liked me, that they appreciated having me there, that I was part of the family. But I've spent years watching them laugh without me, talk over me, forget me. I've stood in the corners of their holiday parties, plate in hand, wondering why no one asks me anything. I've tried inserting myself into conversations. I've stood beside my wife and waited for a window to speak. It always felt like I was interrupting a broadcast I wasn't tuned into. And every year, I'd come home from those parties feeling smaller, more invisible. I told my wife how I felt. She dismissed it with kind eyes and good intentions. "They like you," she'd say. "You're just quieter." But I wasn't quiet. I was quieted. So this year, I decided to run an experiment, a simple swap. I paid my brother $20 and asked him to go in my place. Same haircut, same build, same holiday sweater, no prep, no backstory, no family cheat sheet. I told him to just show up, smile, and survive. He was in. Steve's a good guy. He's not married, no kids, and usually spends Christmas Eve with our parents. But he was curious about how it felt to be me. He walked through their front door and stepped into my life like it was a coat he'd never worn. And no one blinked. "No, you look different today. No, something's off." Just the usual sea of backs turned, conversations carried, glasses filled, and not one person looking him in the eye for longer than it took to say, "Merry Christmas." Hours passed. Steve stood by the fireplace. He smiled. He waited. He approached. Nothing. When he got home later that night, he was quiet. Then he said it. "They didn't talk to me. Not once. I get it now." He meant it. So the next morning, on Christmas Day, I invited Steve to come along to the family gathering. I knew they knew him. He wasn't a stranger, but no one expected both of us. When we arrived, I stood beside him. And for the first time, the air shifted. Eyes widened. Mouths fell slightly open. Confusion flickered. And that's when I said it, calmly, quietly, to the whole room. "Last night, that wasn't me." I let the words hang. That was Steve, and not a single one of you noticed. Silence. I could see the discomfort move through the room like a wave. My wife's face was pale, her eyes wounded. But she knew I wasn't lying. She'd known the plan. She just never expected the reveal. I turned to the room again. "This is why I don't come around. This is why I don't try anymore. Because when I do show up, I still don't exist to you." No one responded. Some looked away. Some shifted their weight. Someone coughed. My wife pulled me aside, furious. "I thought this was just between us," she whispered. "This was supposed to be a funny little prank, not this." But how could I explain? How could I go on pretending it was funny when it wasn't, when it never had been? When year after year I sat alone in a room full of people who never even asked how I was doing. What was the point of proving it to myself if I couldn't say it out loud? If I couldn't hold up the mirror and asked them to look. I didn't yell. I didn't call names. I just told the truth, and the truth hurt for everyone. After that, the energy shifted. The food was still passed around. The music still played. But there was a heaviness, a tension, like everyone had been caught sleepwalking. And maybe they had. Maybe they weren't trying to exclude me. Maybe they weren't actively cold. Maybe they were just careless, comfortable in their own family rhythms, unaware that someone standing right in front of them had been fading for years. But awareness doesn't happen by accident. Sometimes you have to be jolted awake. And if it takes a twin swap to do it, so be it. I didn't do it to shame them. I did it because I was tired of doubting my own reality, tired of the gaslighting wrapped in politeness, tired of being told I was just being sensitive. I wanted proof, and I got it. Now, I don't know what happens next. Maybe I'm never invited again. Maybe things become even more awkward. Maybe they blame me for the tension, but I'm not sorry. Because for the first time in a long time, I finally felt seen. So, am I the asshole? Here's what I think. This story isn't really about a twin, or a party, or even Christmas. It's about invisibility. It's about what it feels like to be in a room full of people and still feel alone. It's about showing up for others who don't show up for you. And it's about what happens when someone finally has enough. What this man did might feel petty to some, dramatic to others. But beneath the stunt is something deeply human. The need to be acknowledged. The need to be valued without having to shout for it. Without having to elbow your way into conversations just to prove you exist. The real heartbreak here isn't the switch. It's the fact that the brother, completely unfamiliar, unprepared, stood in this man's shoes and felt the exact same loneliness. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And sometimes you don't realize how cold a room is until someone else walks into it and shivers. So maybe the message isn't that everyone else is an asshole. Maybe the message is that silence has a cost. That indifference, even when unintentional, leaves wounds. If you take anything from this story, let it be this. Look around you. Notice the person standing on the edge of the room. Ask them a question. Invite them in. Not because you feel guilty, but because everyone deserves to feel seen. Even the quiet ones, especially the quiet ones. And to the OP, wherever you are, maybe next year, you won't have to send Steve. Maybe next year, they'll remember your name.